right now this is a rescue mission. So it started with the first embroidery machine that I bought. Of ADHD.
Oh.
And
I know lots of those people.
is that a pretty common?
Very much into crafts
they
of
keep
every single kind. Yeah, like
they
they
keep
find
you well
something
employed.
new on the internet and they think, oh, I can make that.
Is that where you have people start? Like, what's the first step?
The first step is sorting. So going in and sorting. So you kind of have your stuff organized by type, but you want all your paints together. And then going through and discarding what you no longer need, because there's no reason to find space for stuff that you no longer need.
So I sort, I discard, and then what do I do?
And then you organize your things into the spaces that you want them. So whether you have baskets or tubs or totes or just a shelf dedicated to paint, then you know where it goes. And when you need to find it again, you just go right there and there.
Does that happen? Do a lot of people hire you for this?
Yes, yes. I hear over half of the clients that we get is like, I have ADHD. I can't control my surroundings. You know, I need help. I feel like I look at this and I'm overwhelmed and I'm paralyzed and we as women are expected to, but a lot of us are now working too, and a lot of us are working full time.
Yes.
So crafts and things you did before you had kids fall to the wayside, and that's fine because the kids are the ones that need your attention. So
yeah, they're only little for so long. And so trying to balance that of like being present for them and really enjoying that time while also having things for yourself. Right. Like this is like right now this is a rescue mission. Yes. But my hope is, and the purpose of this sort of year-long project where I try these different things, is that it becomes preventative, that it doesn't have to be this rescue, because we think of self-care too often in that rescue mission mindset. Right. Of like, I'm burnt out, I'm struggling, I can't keep my head above water. And that's what I'm hearing you say your clients are calling you saying. Yeah. And then, so like, yes, that initial call might be the rescue, but then having a system set up how do you see that impacting people's mental health?
They're like, you know, some women are just so relieved to finally have that help. So many of them have been told by a husband or a mother or a mother-in-law, you just need to do that. That's part of what you do. You keep up the house while you also go to work, and you also do the children's things, and you take off work to take them to their doctor's appointments and everything. So it's like, one woman told me once, she's like, nobody knows that you're here, that I've hired you. She said, my mother-in-law doesn't even know that I have a housekeeper every 2 weeks. So that it's almost like it's a shameful thing to need help.
Or that you're like frivolously spending. Why can't you do it yourself?
Exactly.
So, I mean, and what you're hitting on there, because my background is in social work, and so I look a lot at like the systems of things. And so what you're hitting on there is sort of that like invisible labor, right, that women are just expected to do. And like, we let women go to work, right, but only with the expectation they could still manage everything at home. Like, that's fine, honey, if you want to have your little cute dreams, but you still have to make sure dinner's on the table by 5:30. And while we may have gotten away from the overt comments like that, the underlying expectation, I think, is still very much there.
Very much so.
And like, my grandmother washed walls and flat ironed her bed sheets. Yeah, like that's just insane. I don't have time to do that. And so I have somebody who comes and helps once a month, and does like all of the, you know, like she'll wash my windows twice a year and like those sorts of things. And that's such a life space. But it definitely like feels like, oh, my mom could do it all, you know, like my grandma, you know, and it's like, okay, well, the systems that existed for my grandma were very different than what existed for my mom. And she, I think, sort of like suffered in silence about it, because it was still just the expectation, and there wasn't some of the scaffolding to help her. Whereas I'm like, I'm either outsourcing or it's not getting done. I don't have that capacity. And so I think that is just a really interesting note that you have seen with your work, that not only just mental health directly of people who whether or not they have any sort of mental health conditions. Like I'm sure you probably see people who are coming out of depressive episodes and those sorts of things, but these also bigger systems at play.
Yes, because anymore we don't go into other people's homes like we used to. You know, women don't get together and have coffee on a Wednesday morning or whatever. And when you do go out, say with another couple, it's usually out to dinner. You don't invite them into your home anymore. Which is
that's so interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting notes though too, because I talked a lot of times about like that, you know, we say like it takes a village to raise children and those sorts of things, but that village has kind of disappeared.
Yes.
And I think that that's so interesting that we have really sort of holed up in our homes. And yeah, I might talk to my friend daily, but it's like virtual communication. Like it's not like I have to have a recurring appointment in my Google Calendar for us to go get dinner. And it's because it's the logistics and it's the kids' schedules. And yeah, I remember it was very normal when I would go visit my grandparents that you sort of like went like calling. Like we'd drive around on a Saturday and you just sort of like drop in. If anybody dropped in at my house, be like, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
And it would be, but that was very normal that's sort of what you did on Sundays. You know, that was their ritual. It was church, pizza ranch, and then you know, drove to somebody's house and had, you know, played cards until it was time for coffee, and then you went home. And that's, I think in some ways, like, maybe it's just because it's nostalgic for me, but I crave that at times. There's just a slowness to it and a sense of community. And we don't have a lot of third spaces, which are, I don't know if you're familiar with that term.
No, I haven't.
It's been coined by a sociologist, and third spaces are a place of community that really just like requires nothing of you. So it doesn't cost money to go there. It's not so, like traditionally churches have been a third space because you know, there's the time of fellowship afterwards. And so trying to create some that fit in this demographic and this generation and this just like way that we exist has been kind of tough. Coffee shops are sort of a place, but people have got their headphones in and they're, you know, so I think that's super interesting that you're noticing a change in the way we keep our home, for lack of a better word, and these bigger social aspects of it.
Yeah, because you know, the older clients that we have, they still have hutches full of china and crystal and all that stuff that they used to pull out on a Sunday or on a holiday. And you know, nowadays people get married and they register for realistic, for you know, everyday things like vacuums and shovels, and they aren't registering for that stuff that you're just supposed to store and keep for a special time.
I have 2 sets of silver.
Do you?
Yes, that like you can't put in the dishwasher, and you need to. It is on the floor in my closet upstairs.
So it's a sentimental.
Yeah, silver. They were my grandmother's, and my mom had them in a hutch, and we would bring them out for holidays and things like that. And that hutch is at my dad's, and my sister is supposed to get it, but she's never asked for it. But I think that there's some return of that with like more. We sort of use it as a tongue-in-cheek term, but like granny vibes, to bring those sort of like knickknacks. And my sister calls them tchotchkes, which I don't know.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too before, but not until I started doing this job.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. And so I think that maybe there's a return to that. I think people are really looking for the slowness and the communal nature of just being with one another and enjoying being around having coffee. I think I'm just so fascinated that that's the kind of the connection that you're seeing with how it goes from things that are behind closed doors and they just said, I mean, I literally just, I close this door and I just pretend it doesn't exist. And that on a larger scale, the implications of that.
Right.